Nation, it's your favorite nurse Jasmine. I'm back today with another nursing video. So today's video is a highly anticipated video. You guys have been asking me this question since I announced that I was actually going back to school for my master's. And the question is, why did I choose FNP versus acute care nurse practitioner or CRNA? For those of you who are new to my channel, I am a registered nurse and I am licensed in the state of Texas as well as New York. And I've been a critical care nurse or ICU nurse for the past 3 years. So with that, most people automatically come to the assumption that I should choose acute care nurse practitioner or CRNA once I decided to go back for my master's, but that's just not what I chose. And so many people have been asking me why, and that's what I am going to explain to you guys today. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe so you never miss any of my videos. And if you are OG and you've been rocking for me for a long time, thank you so much for coming back. And let's just get into this video. Okay, let's go. Jump right into this and start from the beginning. So once I became a registered nurse, I only had my ADN, and I am like the stubborn person where I'm like, child, I'm so over school. This was in nursing school because nursing school is so draining. Like, I am not going back for my bachelor's. But as my career advanced and I realized a lot of places require you to have your bachelor's, I decided to go back for my BSN, and I did it completely online with UTA. When I was about halfway done with my bachelor's and I was coming up on year 3 of working as a nurse, I realized that this is not something that I want to do until I retire. And not nursing, it's just being a bedside nurse. Bedside nursing is very strenuous. It is very mentally and physically exhausting sometimes. I don't even do 3 shifts in a row. I know there are some people that love to do that. There are some travelers that do like 7 to 10 days in a row, and I do not see how you function doing that because I just personally can't. Like, I will be balled up in an empty room somewhere and they're like, where's Jasmine? She sleep in room 3. I'm so serious. I do break up my days where I can get some sleep in between, but it's just so physically exhausting. Even like flipping, turning, cleaning, moving, repositioning, moving from the chair to the bed, from the bed to the chair, walking from the bedside commode back to the bed. Like, it is just so much, and our population is so overweight that it is just physically, like, it will break you down, and it will break you down quick. Along with that, you have like the co-workers and administration, and it's just a lot. So I just was like, you know what, I don't think that I could do this forever. Could I do this for a long time? Absolutely. I could, you know, bust out at least a solid 15 years. But could I retire being an ICU nurse? And to me, my answer, my personal own, in my head, my answer is no. Are there people that retire? Yes. There's people who have been doing this and have so much seniority that it's crazy. And I commend them for doing it. It's just something that I don't want to do. While I am only 30 years old, I felt like this would be the perfect time for me to go back for my master's. Do I feel like I should have done this a long time ago? Yes. But everybody's time, everybody's chapters, everybody's stories are different, and this is just mine. So do I think in order to not be a bedside nurse, you need to go get your master's and you need to become a nurse practitioner? Absolutely not. Nursing is such a broad field, which is one of the reasons I love it. Like, it is probably one of the main reasons why I love being a nurse, is you can do so many things. You can be mingling amongst so many nurses. You could have 60 nurses in a room and every single person can have a different job. And that is what I love about our field. However, I do not want to go nurse supervisor route. I do not want to go nurse administrative route. I don't want to do case management. Those are some of the not bedside nursing positions that you could do that I personally just have no interest in. So with that, I knew that I wanted to advance my education and I wanted to become a nurse practitioner. One of the things that I answered in my nursing Q&A, if you have not watched that video, I'll link it in a card up here, as well as I'll leave it in the description box. And that is why I didn't become a PA. I just never personally wanted to become a PA. Nothing against them. I don't know anything about their roles. I don't know much about them. I've worked with some PAs, but I just don't know much about them and their education and their job duties. I am a nurse, so I am following the nursing route. Simple as that. Why did I become a doctor? Because I didn't start going to school early enough, and I'm not trying to be a 50-year-old resident. Simple as that, okay? So from about halfway through my bachelor's, I knew I wanted to become a nurse practitioner. And of course, the common conception is you're in the ICU, which if you guys don't know, if you're not a nurse yet, most people want to be ICU nurses, OR nurses, ER nurses, labor and delivery nurses. Those are the top 4. Hands down, that's big facts. I'm sorry. Not saying that any of the other nurses are any less than or beneath or below or incompetent. Not saying that at all. It's just stepping stones to it. And most people will tell you their goal is to become one of those 4 types of nurses. Although I am a critical care nurse, that didn't necessarily mean to me that I had to choose between acute care nurse practitioner and CRNA. Those were just 2 of the most like you should do those 2. So when I thought about it, I was like, well, I know I don't want to do CRNA. I do not want to be sitting there monitoring a screen, making sure my sedation is on point so that my patient does not wake up. Though CRNAs make a lot of money, to me it's not all about the money, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. I'm very aware of what I want to do to be happy, and money doesn't equate happiness to me. If it did, a lot of these rich and famous people, they wouldn't be committing suicide. So that is something else that you guys need to think about, because so many people like reach out to me like, oh, but they make so much money and they make this amount of money. If I'm not happy doing it, no matter the amount that I'm getting paid on paydays, it's gonna make me love it. I'm sorry. That's just me personally. Y'all can take that with a grain of salt, but that's just me. I actually was thinking between acute care nurse practitioner and family nurse practitioner. Of course, I chose family nurse practitioner, and here's the reason why. Family nurse practitioner is just like a registered nurse. There's so many avenues that you can take. There's so many job opportunities for you, whereas acute care nurse practitioners are in a box. I don't like being in a box. I don't like being in a corner. Don't nobody put baby in a corner. That's just not me. So acute care nurse practitioners can work in acute care settings, which is like the ICU, which is like the ER, even though family nurse practitioners can work in the ER too, just in case you didn't know. But you have to be in acute care settings. And that is just not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to have 5 options. I want to have 50 options. And once I sat down and wrote down the pros and cons, and I actually wrote down what I wanted to do as a nurse practitioner, I realized that I was better suited in family nurse practitioner area. If I was to be an acute care nurse practitioner and our next duty station was somewhere like where we are right now, and the hospital is so small that they don't even utilize intensivists or acute care nurse practitioners, I would have no job. I would probably have a job, but I would have to commute even further than my 30-minute commute now. My commute might have been an hour. My commute might have been an hour and a half. And that is just not the type of limitations that I want. For those of you who are wondering, like, well, what do you want to do as a nurse practitioner? So as a nurse practitioner, initially, my number one thing is to work in plastic surgery. I know you guys are like, oh my gosh, that's so cliche. Well, it is. I love beauty. I love hair. I just love everything about it. So if I could work in a plastic surgeon's office, I would absolutely love to do that. Now, I know you guys are like, well, if you were a CRNA, you can be anesthesia for a plastic surgeon, but that's not what I want to do. I don't want to sit there and give them anesthesia while Dr. Miami is doing surgery. I just don't want to do it. I want to, take out JP drains, stitch them up, give them Botox, do lip fillers, do face fillers. Like, those are the type of things that I want to do. However, plastic surgery is such a hard field to get into because so many people are interested in it. So y'all know Jasmine is always ready for the plan B. So for plan B, I actually love pulmonology. I love everything respiratory. It's just my favorite. And I would love to work in a pulmonology clinic as, right-hand man to a pulmonologist. And that way, if my pulmonologist is working in a hospital and I would cover his clinic hours while he or she is doing their 1 week of call in the hospital, and I can do sleep studies and make settings to CPAPs, do steroid medications. Like, there's so many things that I can do in a clinic. There's always the option of doing a primary care clinic as well as urgent cares, and if I wanted to do outpatient surgical clinics, I could do that as well without being an acute care nurse practitioner. So I have a lot of things that I'm interested in. So in my head, when you have a whole pot full of options that you can do, and they're not even all the options that are available, versus a little bitty bowl with about 3 things that you can do, I'm gonna choose my big old pot full of stuff with my extra sides that if I do somehow fall into it and I might love, those are all my options. Do you see what I'm saying? I just don't want to be in this small little circle. And if that's what you want to do, by all means do it. And I have a girl that I work with, and she's like, well, maybe I'll just go for my family nurse practitioner, when really what she wants to do is her CRNA. No, don't do it. Don't do something because other people are doing it. Do what you want to do and what you love. So although a lot of you guys feel like I am an ICU nurse and I should be a CRNA or acute care nurse practitioner, I don't care what other people's thoughts and opinions are when it comes to my life and what I want to do to be happy, regardless of however much money they make. I mean, if that's the case, I would have chose Psych MP. Do you know they make bank? They make almost just as much as CRNAs, and in some states more than CRNAs, because there's such a shortage and there's such a need for them. So don't sit here and tell me because I am doing A, I should do B, because child, I'm going to do Z. I'm going to do what's going to make Jasmine happy. And right now, my pros outweigh the cons hands down when it comes to becoming a nurse practitioner. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm very excited about my decision, and I'm not going to change it. And I hope you guys understand a little bit more why I chose to become an FNP. And maybe this is an eye-opener to a lot of you who are starting school or plan on applying to school this upcoming year. So yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I explained myself enough without going on too much of a tangent. Make sure that before you leave, you subscribe, as well as turn on your notification bell. Turn it on, so that way you can be notified every time I post a video. And until the next video, I'll talk to all of you huns later. Bye.
That's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the